Reality is you looking at your current circumstances and you allowing your current circumstances to dictate what you are all about, to dictate what you are made up of, to dictate what goals you set. And that only makes logical sense. If I take a look at my current results, if I take a look at my skills, if I take a look at my knowledge, if I take a look at the people that I know, if I take a look at my bank account, if I take a look at my current results, that's reality. Why not use all of the tools available to you? Why not start with one of your higher faculties of mind called your imagination that allows you to fantasize and imagine a different life, a different result, a different reality, and why not grow into becoming the person who can make what is now a fantasy a new reality? Welcome everybody to our Mastering Your Mindset Goal Achievement training program. And we're going to work together for the next hour and a half with Q&A. And I've got an entire agenda that I'm going to go through with you with Q&A. First, what we're going to do is we're going to get you all centered and really focused on getting your whole brain to really synchronize. And as you may or may not know, the first thing to synchronize is your heart. And then your brain really synchronizes as well. And so that's one of the first things that we are going to be doing. And hold on just 1 second. I've got Michael here right next to me working on a couple of things. And so we're going to be working on centering meditation. I'm going to share with you something called the results pyramid that I want you to have as a framework for achieving success in your life. We're going to show you why doing less will actually get you more, better results. I'm going to be focusing with you on SMART goals and how to plan for your success versus your failure. And you'll understand what I mean by that in just a little bit. And then there's something that I developed for myself many years ago, and it's all based on the latest neuroscience and how to get out of overwhelm, how to get out of procrastination, how to get out of any of the things that causes you to maybe freeze or causes you not to take action on a consistent basis. And so I'm going to show you how to chunk your goals into bite-sizable chunks so that you can really have everything that you need in an easy-to-follow process for your goals and dream. And then the other thing that we're going to do is, hold on just 1 second. Make sure we've got a little tech.
Okay, we got it.
A tech challenge here, so sometimes that happens. And so we're actually in a new location right now doing this webinar. And so the other thing I'm going to share with you is this time management technique that I've been using for 20 years that's going to help you become 3 to 5 times more productive. And here's my promise to you. When you start using this time management technique that's really not even a time management technique and it works, I want you to send me an email or communicate in our amazing community how well it works, okay? And then we're going to do some Q&A throughout the entire session. So first and foremost, regardless of which program you're in, whether it's one of our Winning the Game of Money, Business, Fear, Procrastination programs, or you've just bought the Having It All bundle, or you are in the Mastering Your Mindset Goal Achievement training program. Either way, what I always do in every one of my sessions is I get people's brains centered. And one of the main reasons for that you may or may not be aware of is everybody has a certain number of attention units. And in your background of your brain, there are, hundreds of thousands of different things going on, if not billions of things going on. And what we want to do is just close the circuits down a little bit so that you can focus right on being here. So here's what I want you to do. Just close your eyes as long as you're not driving and just take a couple of deep breaths. And as you take a couple of deep breaths, what I want you just to repeat, 5 or 6 times is release all my tension and stress now. So it goes like this. You breathe in, and then you say to yourself, I release all my tension and stress right now. So let's do that 3 or 4 times. Breathe in, and I release all my tension and stress right now. Breathe in. I release all my tension and stress right now. Breathe in again. I release all my tension and stress right now. And do that 2 or 3 more times on your own with each breath. All right, and as you do that, know that we are getting our coherence between our hearts and our brains together. And when you just get centered and release any of the stress or the tension that you have from the day, you shut off all of those stress circuits in the brain, and then you make yourself available to this present moment so that your brain can absorb more of the information. Your brain could be in a state of awareness in the present moment, which means it's not going to be focusing on all of the doubts and fears and anxieties and worries and things that you've got to think about for yourself, your family, your friends, your plans, etc. So you get centered right away, you get focused right away, you create bihemispherical coherence and communication, and you could do that in 1 or 2 or 3 minutes. And so that's a great way for you just to get centered and be present. Now, I want to share with you something that I look at on a consistent basis as a way for me to frame what is really required to achieve my goals and dreams. And this call is all about how to have your best year ever. But in order to have your best year ever, I want to give you the framework of how to look at the next 12 months, regardless of, where it is that you're watching this video. My personal belief is that each one of us has got a spiritual core. And spiritual to me doesn't mean religious. It just means that there's an intelligence within me that is a part of all of creation. Just like when you take ocean water out of the ocean and you move it 1,000,000 miles away from the ocean, you still have ocean water. And I believe that the intelligence that created the universe or universes, the blue planet that we live on, the plants, the animals, my body, that's the spiritual side. That's the intelligent side that every one of us has access to, and that's at the core of our being. And so that's why I put that spiritual core in the middle, is to get in touch with that genius, side of us that's been evolving for billions of years in the cosmos, and then, on this planet, and then as a human species. But what I also take a look at is the foundational pieces within the results pyramid and spectrum that are the responsible components to achieving your goals and dreams, whether it's health, wealth, relationships, career, business, finances, contribution, etc. And I look at the first part of the pyramid as the beliefs that you have about yourself, about the world, about what's possible, about the habits that you have developed. There are constructive habits, there's destructive habits. There are habits that'll serve you and habits that'll hinder you. Your beliefs and your habits and your experiences create your perception of reality. Reality isn't out there, outside of you. Reality is inside your own mind that's then projected onto the canvas, that we call our lives. The other part of this pyramid and the foundation that I believe is you have to have the desire, the skill, and the knowledge of how to release the beliefs, the habits, the perceptions, the behaviors that aren't serving you. And that also means that you have to have the ability on how to frame things in a way that will always serve you. So whether that's a failure that you've had, whether it's a success that you've had, whether it's managing overwhelm or procrastination or fears, when you frame things in a way that'll serve you and move you forward, that is when you start to feel like you're more in control of any circumstance that is either happening to you or happening within you. You have the ability to upgrade your knowledge and your skills. And that then changes your thoughts. What you think about is what you start to feel. And what you start to feel causes your emotions, or your emotions causes your feelings. And some of it happens at an unconscious level. But what I believe you and I have to do is get better and better at managing the different emotions that are running our lives, that are running our behaviors. These things create our paradigm, our perception of the world. The other thing that I think is a foundational piece of the success and results pyramid and having your best year ever is forgiving yourself and forgiving anybody else who's either intentionally or unintentionally hurt you or has done something to you that has been negative or has caused you spiritual, emotional, financial, or physical harm. Because as soon as you can forgive, let go of, you can now use that energy focusing on what it is that you want. And that is a function of your attitude. So I believe these things make up your core abilities in the success pyramids to get you started. The next level of the pyramid for me is following your passion. I cannot tell you how many people I meet that are doing things that A, they're not good at, B, they shouldn't be doing because they hate it or are tolerating it, and C, they're doing it because they believe or they think they have to. And so what I like to get people to learn how to do is to find your passions, the things that you play at, the things that you are really, really moved towards versus doing the things that you're tolerating or hating. And then once you understand your passions, your propensities of doing things that you love, then you upgrade your knowledge in that area, you upgrade your skills in that area, and that changes your perceptions and it changes your understanding. And when you add that layer to the pyramid, and you have a spiritual core knowing that everything happens for a reason that serves you, even though it may not be to your taste, even though it may not be the result you want, and you tweak and hone that, that gives you the ability to go to a higher power within you and a higher power in the universe to allow it to guide you. Then when you have the strategies and tactics, which I am going to be talking about today, what is a strategy, what is a tactic, then you take action, and then you gain leverage through systems and processes that are duplicatable, that line up with your vision, which will then help you make more money, be healthier, be happier, be in better relationships, etc. So you've got this success pyramid, and you're all going to get a copy of this, okay, in the members area where this video will be up with these PowerPoints. So you can go back and listen to this over and over again, because repetition is the mother of learning and the mother of skill. But you want to repeat the right things, not the wrong things, because the wrong things become habits. They become habits of thought and emotions and behaviors. So these are the ways that I look at my life, at the companies that I work with, the individuals that I work with, and of course, you fit into that category. So what we want to do is line all of these things up, and then we have what I call is a predictable transformation, a predictable result. And again, I always start with the core spiritual side of my being, knowing that the intelligence is within me. And if the intelligence isn't within me, the knowledge, the skills, the strategies, the tactics, then the intelligence is outside of me. And it either is on Google, on Facebook, or through friends, or through our community. So that's how I look at the results pyramid. Now, what I want to go to next is something that I called why doing less will get you more. And a lot of people think that being busy and doing a lot of things will get you more. But there is something that is inevitably true in almost every single circumstance, and that is this. There's only a small number of things that really make up the biggest part of success. There isn't 100 different things that you have to do in order to achieve success. There are keystone behaviors that when you do those, you are so much further ahead than trying to do too many things. And I want you to write this down. Do less better to completion. Why do I say do less better to completion? Well, number one is in every one of our lives, we have health, wealth, relationships, career, business, finances, charities, contribution, fun and experiences, family, hobbies, significant others. We have hundreds of things that could occupy our time. And what most people do is they have all of these things that need to get done, but they don't do them to completion. And so it leaves them this feeling of not being able to get things done. It leaves them this feeling that they may not be smart enough or good enough. It leaves them this feeling of overwhelm. It leaves them this feeling of procrastination. And it leaves them this feeling of not wanting to disappoint themselves, and so that they don't do things anyway. And so one of the tricks that I've learned a long time ago is to list out, categorize, all of your lists, okay, of everything that you need to get done. And then what you want to do is ask yourself this question. Out of all of these things that need to get done, which one is the most important? Then once you weigh out all of the different things that you need to get done with your family and friends and hobbies and weight and gym and exercise and money and business and learning the internet and which one is the most important, and make a decision to complete that from A to Z. Then you take your number two thing and you complete that one all the way through. And I suggest that you do not have more than 3 things that are goals in your life that you want to achieve in each area of your life. So no more than 3 goals that you're going to focus on, let's say on health. No more than 3 goals that you're going to focus on for wealth. No more than 3 things you're going to focus on at any given time for each of the categories in your life. And when you start to say, okay, these are the goals that I want to achieve, and I'm only going to do the top 3 things in each one. I'm only going to focus on the top 3 things. You might end up with 10 or 15 things on your list, which is much more manageable than 100. And then you take the 20% of those things and you focus on those first. So you narrow everything down from macro, the many, to the few, and then you take the few, the 10 or 15, and you narrow those down even further to just 3. Why does this work? Well, it works for a couple of reasons. Number one is your brain is processing billions of information per second, and it is deleting or distorting, or it's making known to your conscious mind anything that is on your important list. And an important list will consist of the things that are the most important for you. And so if you have 20, 30, 40, 50 things that are important to you in no specific order, you are going to overload your brain, your conscious brain's capacity to process that much information. But if you get absolutely clear on your bullseyes, on the things that you really, really, really want to get done, and you allocate some time to getting organized, from creating a list of all the things you need to do to categorizing that list into these are things that must be done, into a further list of these are things that must be done in the next 30 days, into another list of these are the things I need to do in the next week. You go from the macro to the micro, and you focus like an archer would focus on hitting a target, or you focus on a bullseye that a sniper would be focusing on. And doing less this way will take the neurological pressure off you. It'll take the emotional pressure off you. But what it will also do is it'll have your brain functioning better by gathering all of the information and tools and resources, and activating your left prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain that comes up with solutions to help navigate your thoughts and emotions and behaviors. So you want to move from getting a lot done to getting a little bit done consistently, and that way you develop your getting things finished muscle. That way you get your activity muscle built, but it's more than just your activity muscle built, it's your productivity muscle built. You want to be focused on the critical few things that have the biggest impact, not the hundreds of trivial things that may have a micro impact. So this is where doing less will get you more. And for those of you who are in our programs, which is probably everybody that's on this call, what I want you to understand is, you have access to the brain training program, for life. You have access to the videos. You have access, to the community. So don't feel like you have to be a taskmaster to do everything in 1 week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 4 things. Most people overestimate what they can do in a short period of time, and they underestimate what they could do in a longer period of time. So chunk it down, make sure that you do what you can, and then if you need to add a little bit more, it's always easy to add. But I want you to take it down to the ridiculous so that you feel like, hey, I could do those 3 things, and I could do those 3 things, and I could do those 3 things. And now you start to build your confidence, your certainty, your doing muscle, and that's going to create more confidence and certainty that you can achieve your life's goals and dreams, and your financial goals and dreams, your health goals and dreams. So this is where doing less will get you more. Your attention units in your brain are limited, and you only get, let's say for discussion purposes, 10 units a day. So you can't, or you don't want to use those 10 units being scattered. You want to use those 10 units focusing on exactly what needs to get done to completion. So you do less better to completion. And I added a theme for my year, okay? And my theme for this year for myself is do less better to completion at the pro level. And the reason I have at the pro level is my goals are pretty lofty. And the people that I compete against in what I do are at the pro level. So I have to be especially diligent to make sure that I'm competing at the pro level. So I want to do less better to completion at the pro level. You might decide that you want to play at the university level, or the high school level, or the grade school level, or the kindergarten level. And you may have seen me with one of my graphs before showing people which level do you want to play of the game. Well, each level of the game on the pyramid requires the thoughts, the emotions, the strategies and tactics, and the behaviors to play at that level. But for now, make a decision that you're going to do less, you're going to do it better by upgrading your knowledge and your skills, and you're going to do it to completion, and then you're going to take on the next task. All right? So hopefully that makes sense to you. And then what I want to get into now is to really help you understand the way my brain works, the way I was taught to be a goal achiever instead of just a goal setter. Now, in order to understand having your best year ever in 2015, what I want you to understand is that we all have this circuit in our brain called the desire to acquire circuit, or the seeking circuit. It's neurologically there. It's been proven by Pansky, a brilliant neuroscientist and psychologist. And so we all want to achieve great things. And you wouldn't be part of this program if you didn't want more. And it's okay to want more. And that's why one of my taglines is achieve even more. But there is a strategy, a recipe in order to achieve your goals and dreams. And so one of the things, if you want to get your brain to work optimally, the more specific you can be around your goals and dreams, the easier it is for your brain to know that's important to you. And when we get into the latter part of this presentation, I talk to you about your daily rituals. You'll understand that it's not enough to just write your goals down on a piece of paper. All right, like I have some notes here for myself, but you have to repeatedly remind your conscious brain that this is what you want your brain to focus on. And through the repetition, it becomes fixed in the unconscious mind. But you first have to start with the bullseye and the instruction of what it is you want your brain to focus on. The next part is you've got to be able to somehow measure it. So are you going to measure it, with a feeling? Are you going to measure it with a result of how much money's in your bank? Are you going to measure it as on a chart? Are you going to measure it, of your goal versus, your present circumstance, or goal versus your actual? How are you going to measure whether you're on track or off track, and what percentage you are on the way there? And how will you measure whether you're making progress or you're moving backwards? So your goals should be specific, and they should be measurable, and also aggressive. Why aggressive? Well, you've got the most powerful tool in the universe that you own. It's called your brain. And whatever goal you give your brain, and whatever goal you activate into the unconscious, implicit part of your psyche and your memory, will activate your left prefrontal cortex, which is your CEO, your executive director, the part of your brain that's able to come up with strategies and tactics, and it acts as your GPS, your guidance, positioning system of where you are and how you can move towards that. And so if you're going to set goals, why not set aggressive goals that you don't know how to achieve yet, and force your brain to help you come up with solutions? Force your brain to tune in to the station of those goals. And when you tune in the station with your brain, which is nothing more than an electromagnetic switching station that allows light energy in through your eyes, sound energy through your ears, touch or tactile messages through your senses, okay? And whether you can hear, see, smell, taste, or touch, those are all just bits of information, energy information, that our brain decodes and deciphers what it is. Now, yours and my brain is always looking for things in the physical world that match the things that are on your important list. Now, you could have things on your important list that are what you want, but you can also have things on your important list of what you're worried about, what you're doubtful of, what you're fearful of. And your brain is going to find those things and make you consciously aware of them, whether you like it or not, or whether you understand how your brain and the senses and the systems work synergistically. So when I talk about having specific goals, that's your bullseye. Measurable is a way for you to know whether you're making progress through your results or your feelings or some other way to measure. Aggressive, because I know that you're capable of achieving more. You just may not have the beliefs yet, the perceptions, or the habits, or the strategies yet, but that's why you're in this program. And then what you want to do, all right, is make them realistic. Now, what do I mean by realistic? Depending on your skills, your knowledge, your emotional mastery, your financial and non-financial ability, you can determine what types of goals you can achieve. And when we talk about realistic, I'm not talking about realistic as in, can I do this? I talk about realistic as in, can I figure out a way? Can I find the right people, the tools, the resources, whether it's online or offline, people I know or don't know, that could help me with these aggressive goals. And what's realistic to one person may not be realistic to another person because of their own feelings and confidence and certainty levels. So is it realistic for Donald Trump or Oprah to say, let's make $1 million in a day? Well, the answer is yes, because both of them probably have. The key is if you said to yourself, I'm going to make $1 million in a day, and I'm going to do it in 30 days, your fear center in your brain is going to fire off all of the negative or unpleasant emotions associated with fear, because you may not have the knowledge, the skills, the contacts, the resources, etc. And so realistic means that you take inventory of where you are right now and you create an aggressive goal that you don't know how to achieve, and you force yourself to learn the skills, the knowledge, the strategies, the tactics, meet the people, gain more, gain stronger beliefs and better habits. And so when there's specific, measurable, aggressive, and realistic, the next part of this equation is time bound. Why? Well, two principles that we've been talking about so far. Earlier, I talked about do less, better to completion. And for me, I added at the pro level, you add whatever you want. That's called the Pareto principle. And that suggests that 20% of your actions will actually gain you 80% of your results. The same holds true that we wear 20% of our clothes in our closet, 20% of our products or services sell, and we achieve 80% of the results from those. Well, when we start putting time limitations on ourselves, another law comes in, and that's Parkinson's law. And I talk about some of this stuff in the How to Get More Done in Less Time program. But when you put a timeline on your brain, you actually squeeze it, force it to come up with solutions in that time frame. And one of the things that we know about us human beings, if given enough time, we'll take as much time as possible. If we're given a shorter period of time, we will get done what needs to get done in that short period of time. So when you create your goals, you're able to measure your progress, you make them aggressive so you're out of your comfort zone, and you really focus on upgrading your knowledge and your skills and your beliefs and your habits. They become more realistic, and then you create some time-bound ways for you to say, okay, I'm going to get this done in 1 week, this done in 1 month, this done in 3 months, this done in 1 year. You can start to give yourself some rope or some slack so you take the tension off of your brain, the neurological tension that is going to cause too much stress. Now, stress is one of the things that can either move you forward or shut you down. And so too much stress shuts the system down. Just enough stress allows the system, your body, okay, to move forward. So you need to know how to throttle this back and forth. And that's really one of the reasons you're in the community, is to ask questions when you're feeling like, I don't want to do this. When you're feeling like you're overwhelmed, when you're feeling like you're going to procrastinate, or you are procrastinating, when you're feeling uncertain or doubtful, or you're rationalizing, you're telling yourself rational lies, you can come into the community and ask questions. And so the strategies for goal sessions or for goal achievement is the SMART goal process achieving. And so what you want to do when you are creating your goals, all right, is make sure that you are absolutely clear on exactly what you want to achieve by when. Make sure that you have these timelines and give yourself more time than you need so that you can really use the Parkinson's law in your favor, okay? All right, the next part is the power of chunking, and we've talked a little bit about this in the past, or in this call, but I'm going to go a little bit deeper into the power of chunking. What I like to do is reduce the goals to the ridiculous. Reduce the goals to the ridiculous. And what does that mean? Well, what it means is if I want to make a certain amount of money in a year, then I will reduce it to how much does that mean per month. Then I will reduce it to how much does that mean per week. Then I will reduce it to what does that mean per day. Then I will reduce it to what that means per hour. And what you'll find is it's not as much as you think when you chunk it down to the lowest common denominator. And then you can ask yourself, well, what is an activity or a skill or a strategy that I can implement to move me towards the smallest chunk of the goal? So a lot of times when you want to, let's say, get in shape, you can get in shape by eating better. You can get in shape, by sleeping better, which we know. You can get in shape by exercise. But if you chunk down the big goal into micro goals and then chunk down the micro goals into a 1-minute goal or a 5-minute goal or a 10 or 20 or 30-minute goal so you can feel like I can do that, that takes off the neurological tension of the big goal and maybe even some of the smaller chunks of goals. So take all your goals down to the ridiculous. So for example, when I have health goals, I may set a goal for releasing a certain amount of body fat, increasing my muscle mass, increasing my cardiovascular output, and I'll break it down into, on Monday, I'm going to do 5 minutes of jumping rope. I'm going to do 10 minutes of meditation, and I'm going to do 15 minutes of some kind of weights. So I'll chunk it down until I find the magical formula where my brain says, I could do that. And what I want you to do is get your brain to the point where you think and you feel and you say to yourself, I can do that. And here's what's really critical. And some of you may have read what I wrote sometime in the last week about the habit is more important than the intensity. The habit is more important than the intensity. So once I have a goal and I have a timeline and I know what I can do every day towards that, I want to develop that as a habit. So even if I have to do 1 minute of something, I want to do 1 minute of it every day for 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. Because here's what happens. Over time, automaticity takes over and your brain just does it automatically. And then you can go, well, 1 minute's not that long of a period. Let me see if I can do 3 minutes and 5 minutes and 10 minutes and 20 minutes. So don't be afraid to go all the way back to a small chunk of a habit and a behavior and a strategy that you want to implement, and do that every day and gain momentum over the next 30 days, 90 days, 180 days, in a year. So for some people, to do an hour's worth of something is too much. But if we said still do the behavior, the action, the strategy for 5 minutes, they go, okay, I can do that. So remember, you can chunk it down to the ridiculous so that you can do it every single day. And when you get into the habit of doing it every day, you develop the confidence, the certainty, and you develop the knowledge and the skill of what to do, not to do, and you can tweak it over and over again. The other thing you've all heard me talk about for as many years as I've probably been teaching is the difference between interest and commitment. And you've heard me talk about being interested means you're going to do what's convenient. You're going to give yourself stories, excuses. And what achieving goals is all about is commitment. Commitment and promising yourself that you are going to make the necessary changes in your beliefs, make the necessary changes in your habits, make the necessary changes to take the time to plan your goals, because time is all that life is made up of. And so what you want to do is make sure that you exchange your life for what you love. And setting clear goals will also do one other thing for you. It will allow you to know what to say no to, as much as it will allow you and your brain to know what to say yes to. So I want you to recommit to your goals for 2015, but maybe stretch the timelines out of what you're going to do in the first quarter and second quarter. So if you're committed to achieving your goals and dreams this year with my help and my team's help, what I want you to do is just type in right now, all right, into the chat that John, I am committed. And I want to just see who's committed right now. If you can type in, I'll be able to see I'm committed. Charmaine, awesome. Hey, Aaron Murphy, awesome. Laura, 40, awesome. Super Julie, hey there, Julie. Emil, Alex, Luke, awesome, awesome, awesome. I'm just reading some of these. Sharon, Shirley, Marcus, Julene, Marilyn, Norm, Carissa. I don't know if it's Genaba Osaba, Claire, Anna. Awesome, awesome, awesome. We're getting hundreds of people committing over here. Julia, John Alchin, Shelley, Jill Voss. Okay, you get the drift. We got lots of people committed. Hey there, Tommy and Jaya Shri. Okay, so making a commitment means you're going to grow, you're going to learn, you're going to stumble, you're going to fall, you're going to pick yourself back up. And guess what? Since you're in this program together with me, we're going to help you achieve your goals. The next part of this is fantasy versus reality. Now, what in the world is fantasy versus reality? Reality is you looking at your current circumstances and you allowing your current circumstances to dictate what you are all about, to dictate what you are made up of, to dictate what goals you set. And that only makes logical sense. If I take a look at my current results, if I take a look at my skills, if I take a look at my knowledge, if I take a look at the people that I know, if I take a look at my bank account, if I take a look at my current results, that's reality. Well, most people are saying, well, because of my current reality, that's what I should use to set my goals. And I go, why not use all of the tools available to you? Why not start with one of your higher faculties of mind called your imagination that allows you to fantasize and imagine a different life, a different result, a different reality, and why not grow into becoming the person who can make what is now a fantasy a new reality? If you think about every single person who's achieved anything in the world that was never achieved before, it started off with their imagination, a higher faculty of their brain. And they may have gotten that idea from something within them. It may have been, a seed that was planted from the field where all seeds come from, the quantum field. And either way, if you've been impregnated with a fantasy of what you want your life to be like, then why not reverse engineer? How can I achieve that goal, that dream life, that fantasy? And ask yourself, who do I need to become to achieve that? What do I need to learn? Who do I need to hang around? What skills do I need to have, or what skills can I find, all right, within my friends or our amazing community that can help me create this amazing fantasy? You see, every single person has these fantasies and ideas of what they would love their life to be like, but they may not have the skills, the strategies, the tactics, the money, the know-how yet. But that doesn't mean that the knowledge, the skills, the money, the know-how, the strategies and tactics don't exist. So don't confuse what your current results are and who you've become up until now with what your potential is. See, you have to focus on the left prefrontal cortex of your brain, the part of your brain that can help you figure it out, versus the right prefrontal cortex of your brain, which is going to go into your memory banks and come up with all of what it already knows based on the evidence that you have gotten in your life, based on your current beliefs, based on your current paradigm, based on your current perceptions. There is a switch in your brain. The right switch, okay, the right lever goes into the memory and projects into the future the potential success or consequences that may come with what you already know and who you already are. However, the newest, most amazingly developed part of our brain is our prefrontal cortex. Specifically, the one I want you to start using more of is the left prefrontal cortex, which taps into your imagination, your intuition, your CEO, your executive director of your brain, and the GPS part of your brain that most people are leaving dormant because they're living in the past and projecting into the future all the potential negative consequences and spiritual pain and emotional pain and physical pain and any other type of pain you might be experiencing. And so what I want you to understand is if you have the vision, the idea, and there's resonance and there's a real feeling that that's what you want to trade your life for, that's the goal I want you to go for. I don't want you to allow your fear of not knowing how to achieve it to hold you back. I don't want you to allow your doubts of not having the knowledge or the skills to hold you back. I don't want you to look at your present circumstances, whether the financial or non-financial, and let that hold you back, because that's driving your car looking in the rear view mirror. I want you to drive your life looking in the front mirror or in the front windshield looking ahead and asking yourself, how can I? What do I need to do? How do I need to think? How do I master my emotions better? What are the skills, the strategies and tactics that I need to implement to achieve those goals? And you learn how to manage that pessimistic side of your brain and my brain. And that is a skill, just like learning a musical instrument is a skill, just like learning a new language is a skill, just like learning how to bake is a skill, just like learning anything is a skill. When you set the goal for what you want to achieve, you create timelines, chunk it down, make the commitment, and know that even a fantasy that you have right now is your birthright to achieve. That is what's going to motivate you. That is what's going to get you out of bed. That is what is going to cause the excitement and the passion that is going to become enthusiasm that people will feel and want to help you. Enthusiasm comes from the Latin root entheos, God within you. And so when there is an idea that you're passionate about and it's a fantasy of, oh my God, I'd love my life to be like this. I'd like to contribute to the lives of others this way. I want this type of a lifestyle. I want to give this much of my time and money to charities. That may start off with a fantasy, and you don't have to yet know how to achieve it, but you have to commit to it. You have to commit to becoming the person that can make that their reality versus your current reality. And when you make that so real in your mind, that is when all of the alignment happens between your thoughts, your emotions, and your behaviors. And it just takes a little bit of time. So you have to be patient, okay? And so what I want to do is looking at the time right now, I want to let you ask some questions. And the way you can do that is if you have a question, type in the question. And then Erica, who is our event and program coordinator, she will take a few questions. I'll answer some questions. And then I'm going to go to the next part of this program, and that is how to understand strategies, tactics, and how do you achieve some of your goals. And let me know what your question is, but I also want to know, is this helping you? And can you make use of it? All right, is this helping you? Can you make use of this? Just type this in. All right, we've got a lot of people on. All right. Yes, very helpful. Good, 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 good. We're going to be doing a lot of these every 2 weeks. This is what the Strategies for Goal Achieving program is all about. You're going to learn from me, from Mark Waldman, from some of our other experts, and you're going to have, over the course of the next year, an opportunity to learn every 2 weeks for an hour and a half content like this. So good, 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 good. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, so a question. Can you have John repeat all of his categories? Sure. So whenever I set my goals, I set goals for my health. And in my health, I have physical health, mental health, emotional health, and spiritual health. So in the health category, it's physical, spiritual, mental, and emotional. In the financial arena, I have income and net worth. In my relationship arena, I have relationship with my wife Maria, relationship with my children, relationship with my family, relationship with my employees. So I break it down into the goals I have for each. Then I have charitable goals, time and money that I want to give to charities. I have contribution goals. How do I want to contribute? You know, my knowledge, my skills, my money, my time, my information, my products, my services. Then I have fun and experiences. What kind of fun do I want to have? What kind of experiences do I want to have? So, for example, in 2015, one of my experiences that I'm going to do with my son is I'm going skydiving. So we have a list of the things that we want to do as a family. We have things that we want to do individually and together. So it's health, wealth, relationships, career, business, charitable, fun, experiences, contribution. So those are the ones that I set goals for myself. And if you have the Having It All program and you're one of the individuals that just bought the Having It All program, it lays all of this out for you in a really simple to follow manner. Okay? And just remember, depending on where you are in your life. Okay, in one area of your life, you may be at the pro level, but another area, you may be at the kindergarten level. I'll give you an example. I have a friend of mine who is a billionaire, and he's 40 years old, and he was just brilliant in his business. I'm not going to tell you what it is because it'll be easy to figure out who it is for my friends because he might be on one of these calls. But he has become brilliant at what he does and has made over $1 billion. However, in his relationship with his wife, who he's now going through a divorce with, and his children, he is at the kindergarten level. He really never learned the rules of having a great relationship, the rules of being a great father, and that has challenged him. So he's got all this money, and he's playing at the 1/1,000,000th of 1% of the world, while in his relationship everything's falling apart. So his goals right now is to understand himself better. It's to understand how to show up in a relationship, how to be a better dad. So every one of us has got things that we're doing great at. We have things we suck at, and we have everything in between. The key is to take what's most important to you and put some clear goals together around it, and then create some timelines, chunk it down, make sure you're committed, and make sure that you use some of your imagination to be able to achieve that. All right? So another question we have, and Eric, if you can let me know who it's from, that would be great also, is if you have a very big goal, when you chunk it down, do you visualize that big goal or visualize the smaller step goal? And that's from Jane. So Jane, every day, and I'm going to talk a little bit about this when we talk about the daily rituals, I always start every day visualizing my big goals as if they're already completed. So I project myself into my environment in my life as if the big goals are already achieved. And even when my brain says, that's not true, I just say, next. I just override that thought, and I tell my brain, it may not be true right in this second. However, this is what I want you to focus on, and this is what I want you to make my reality as quickly as possible. So I have a dialogue with my brain because I'm not my brain. You're not your brain. Your brain has automatic thoughts. Some are negative, some are positive. If they're negative, I just use the word next, And if they're positive, I just go, yep, I agree. So I look at the big goal, and then if I've got some micro goals, I will look at those and I will see those as if they are complete and that I could check them off of my achievement checklist. So great call, or great question, Jane. Gwen says, oh, the last question was Gwen. So awesome, or Gwen, excuse me. Great for the last question. We'll take 2 or 3 questions each time. Eric, if there's another question, great. If not, then I will continue. I've got a pretty long presentation, and I think it'll make sense. So here's one more question. All right. So this question is from Julie. Hi, Julie. So please expand on this. You said to give ourselves less time, or specifically confined amount of time to get a task or project done, yet you also said to make your timeline longer. Okay. So if you want to release, 10 pounds of weight, most people says, well, I'm going to lose that weight or release that weight in 2 weeks. Well, what if I said to you, instead of releasing that weight in 2 weeks, knowing that you can do that, why don't you say, I'm going to release that weight over 30 days, and this is the thing that I'm going to do, or the things that I'm going to do every day for 30 days so I can ensure the habit and the consistency. So what I mean is give yourself the freedom not to put so much pressure on you in 10 different things, but make it time bound so that your brain can get its head around it. No pun intended, that you get your head around it. And so when you chunk it down to the ridiculous, chances are you'll do it. And if you'll do it, you'll build the muscle of getting things done. If you build the muscle of getting things done, you'll raise your confidence and certainty level. If you raise your confidence and certainty level, you're going to feel good. If you feel good, you're probably going to want to do more of it. Versus saying, I'm going to lose 10 pounds in the next 10 days or 2 weeks and then starve yourself and work out for 2 or 3 hours, which is not sustainable. So I want you to make it realistically sustainable. And I'm going to repeat one more time. The habit is more important than the intensity. So give yourself a longer period of time and make the smaller goals bite-sizable and chunkable so that you can gain the momentum of taking action and doing things to completion. Okay, so Luke is asking, how do you advise to keep motivation and resonance with a goal when nothing is happening? Well, let me ask you a question, Luke. I think that was Luke. Yeah. When you plant a seed underneath the soil, do you see what's happening? And the answer, unless you've got some kind of a glass container with the soil, it's hard to see anything until the roots take hold. And once the roots take hold, then you can see some activity underneath the soil. The illusion that nothing is happening is just that, an illusion. And so if you are doing the right things in the right order at the right time, something's happening either in your internal mental world or something's happening in your external world. Now, there is something called the gestation or incubation period. And a gestation or incubation period says that for a seed, or even a thought, to go from seed to physical manifestation. For example, a carrot seed is 70 days. A sheep, takes about 165 days, and a human embryo from sperm and egg, coming together to having a baby is 285 days. That's the gestation or incubation period. If you were to measure nothing happening based on what you can physically see with your eyes, you would assume nothing's happening underneath the soil. You'd assume nothing's happening in the womb, but something is happening underneath the soil. You just can't see it. So this is where faith comes in. And faith is what you have to go to in the absence of fact. Now, there are gestation and incubation periods for everything. So, for example, if you want to bake a cake, there is a recipe to follow. There's ingredients you have to have. There's a process and a syntax of how to put the ingredients together at what time, in what order, for what length of time. You may need to bake a cake. You may need to put it in the fridge in order to have the end result. So every idea, every thought, every goal has a different gestation or incubation period that you have to understand is always working. And it may be working to give you a positive result. It may be working to give you a negative result. But there's no such thing as nothing is happening. There's always something happening. The key is it what you want or what you don't want? Is it what you are intending to happen or not? And here's what you always have to take a look at. Are you doing the right things in the right order at the right time? Because for health, we know what the recipe is for health, for reducing stress, for being at your optimal weight, for having optimal energy, for having an abundance of passion. We know what the recipes are. To make money, we know what the recipe is. To have a great relationship, we already know what the recipe is. To achieve just about any goal in health, wealth, relationships, career, business, spiritual growth, we already know the blueprint. And so there's no such thing as it not working when you do the right things. Don't confuse not getting the results you want with it not working. I would like everybody to challenge, am I doing the right things? Okay? And so here's what I would like to do. Oops, let me back up for 1 second. And Erica, we don't take a break on these calls, okay? So what I'm going to continue doing is I'm going to share with you how to break down, okay, your goals, okay, into bite-sizable chunks. And I want to also make sure you all understand the difference between a goal, a strategy, and a tactic. So if we use just the military, which unfortunately is being talked about a lot in the media right now, the military has a goal. So the goal is the end result. So the goals that you set should be the end results. And so if you have a goal, okay, of X, so let's say take the hill by sunset, the next question you have to ask yourself, out of all the things that I could do to achieve that goal, okay, what are some of the strategies of what I will do in order to achieve that goal? So in the military metaphor that I'm going to use with you, you might start with artillery fire from one location to a next to soften the position of the people that are on that hill, okay? And so that would be one strategy. Another strategy might be to take a river approach, okay, to be able to storm the people that are on the hill. And another strategy, okay, may be to perform a sneak attack from the rear by going up the mountain. These are strategies, what you can do. So you can think about, to make more money, what are 3 things that I could do to make more money? What are 3 things I could do to enhance my health? What are 3 things I could do to enhance my relationship? You can use the what to do, okay, and create a list and then just choose 3, not 10, just 3 strategies. And if you don't have the time for 3, go to 2. If you don't have the time for 2, go to 1, but make sure it's the right strategy. So a strategy is what you can do. Then you've got to get into the details of the specifics, okay? The details of the specifics of what, okay, you can do. So if we have, okay, the goal of taking the hill, then we need to get into what are the detailed specifics of the tactics. So I've got to come up with a tactic to supply the platoon armory. I've got to figure out the tactics to feed the soldiers during these maneuvers. I've got to build manholes. I've got to dig spider holes. You can come up with hundreds of different tactics in order to achieve the strategies that'll help you achieve the goals. So you've got to go from the goal to what you can do to the details, the specific details. So if you want to use this as an example, you can come up with hundreds of tactics. And here is why I'm using this as an example. Number 1, there are hundreds of tactics that people could use. And people confuse all of the micro goals or tactics with the strategies. So for example, if I want to lose 10 pounds or release 10 pounds, a strategy could be that I'm going to run. But a tactic could mean that I'm going to run, 5 minutes on Monday. I'm going to do hill work on Tuesday. I'm going to do interval training on Wednesday. I'm going to take a day off to rest, which is part of my tactic. And then on Wednesday or Thursday, I might do a 10-minute run instead of a 5-minute run. So I can make the strategies doable and the tactics very, very, very specific. And by doing that on a consistent basis, then I can achieve my goals. And so that leads me to you taking what I've taught you so far and then breaking it down into your top 3 to 5 goals. And you can either do this, daily, weekly, or monthly, or quarterly. I like people to have this one document in front of them of being able to look at what their top 3 to 5 goals are so that you can prime your brain, every day, every week, every month to give it the instruction of here are my top 3 or 5 health goals. Here's my top 3 or 5 wealth goals. And by chunking it down to top 3 or 5, you're giving your brain the instruction of these are the things that are important to me. I want to activate my left prefrontal cortex so that it will help me figure out the sharpest, fastest path towards achieving this goal. The other thing that this does is it gives your brain the instruction of what to find in your environment that you're not even aware of or paying attention to, because all the information in your environment is being processed at the unconscious level first. And then if it's important, a message is sent to your conscious processing brain for you to become aware of it. And this happens up to a half a second before you're even aware of it. But if you don't give your brain the instruction of what your top highest priorities are, it won't know what to send up to your consciousness for processing further and making you aware. So you take this form and you just write your top 3 to 5 goals. And I recommend that you do this for the next, let's say, 90 days. What are your top 3 to 5 goals for your next 90 days? You may even want to have another one for this year. All right, so for this year and for the next 90 days, and every day I'm going to show you a way to take your goals and to impress them into the part of your brain that I want you to impress it to, and that is your unconscious brain. And many of you are doing that, already using our brain retraining program. So these are the different areas that I would love each one of you to have something in writing that you can look at, whether it's on your computer or, that you can hold, or that you can laminate like I do with all of my stuff. And I have this, as a document on my computer as well. All right. And so when you chunk it down into this, then you can start to focus on what you want versus what you don't want. And that is some of the stuff that we do around chunking and getting your brain to focus on less. Before I go to the next section on event management, and I'm going to leave about 15 minutes for Q&A, does anybody have any questions right now, all right, on what we've talked about so far? All right, I want to make sure that you understand that this is a process. Follow the process, model the process, and you'll start to be a goal achiever, not just a goal setter. All right, so if you can type in a question that you may have, I'll take a quick sip of water. All right, so Derek is saying, I think it's Derek, yeah. It's not easy for me to emotionalize, visualize, and fantasize. What techniques do you have? Okay. Derek, I don't agree with you that it's not easy for you. And I'll tell you why. Every time you think of a red apple, you've just visualized it in the occipital lobe part of your brain. Every time I say to you, red car, every time I say to you, yellow pencil writing on the red car, your brain has formulated an image for that. And I could say to you, imagine or think about driving a red car while you are writing on the dashboard in a yellow pencil as an elephant that's green is sitting next to you in your car, and your brain is seeing, okay, that visual happening as if it was real. And so visualizing takes a little bit of practice. Emotionalizing takes a little bit of practice. And so do all of these other techniques. It's like me saying to you, can you skateboard? And most people go, well, no, I can't skateboard. But can you learn how to? The answer is yes, I can learn how to. Well, if you sat for a moment and you emotionalized, a happy thought, or you emotionalized a sad thought, you would invoke the feeling and the emotion. Why? Because you'd have to think of it first. And if you thought about what you were thinking about, you would start to feel the chemicals and the electrical activity that has been released by that thought. And if you just got in touch with the feeling and expanded that, you could really get into a state of emotionalizing to the point of what Hollywood actors and actors do is they can emotionalize something negative and tears come down their eyes, or they can emotionalize something ecstatic and they start to act and pretend. So it's just a function of learning how to do it a little bit better than you are right now. And part of the program that you may be in, I walk you through, visualization and emotionalizing and a variety of different techniques to do that in. And it's really just a matter of inner-sizing and practicing. All right? All right, so that's that question. Who's got another question? Thank you, Derek, for that. I'm going to take another one question. I'm going to continue. I'm going to leave the rest of the questions for just a few moments after I finish the daily routine that I want you all to start with immediately to make 2015 your best year ever. Okay, so question from Al. It says, how should one look at his or her failures, which are feedback, but still they take a lot of steam out of one's wings? Well, Al, first, I want you to notice your language pattern, and that is this. But they still take the steam out of one's wings. No, they're taking the steam out of your wings because that's what you're allowing them to do. And so first and foremost, the meaning that we give anything determines how we feel about it. So the meaning you give a failure will determine how you feel. And how you feel is going to cause you to think a certain way. Then you're going to be thinking about what you feel and feeling what you think about, and you're going to create an automatic repetitious negative loop around failure. What I think about when I fail is I either didn't have the right strategies, the right tactics, the right time, the right knowledge, or something, and therefore I failed. But that doesn't mean I'm a failure. I just learned something that didn't work. And I've had health issues. I've had, divorced twice, lost millions of dollars. I've had every type of failure you could possibly imagine, but I frame it. The meaning I give it is that it's my education. It's a way for me to see if what I'm thinking and feeling and doing is working or not. Some does, some doesn't. All of it gives me information that I could tweak and adjust my sails for the next time or for now. And so I just made a choice that whenever I fail, I'm going to look at what I learned from it and how do I take the failure and make it worth 10 times the amount of money or pain or embarrassment or shame. How do I make it worth 10 times, okay, whatever the unpleasant experience is of that failure. So by looking for how do I make it 10 times more valuable, is that turning a negative in quotes or unpleasant in quotes into a positive? Yes, because now I'm using my attention units to look at the lessons to be able to use in my present moment and in my future. So, Al, I hope that answers the question for you and for everybody else, because that is a philosophy of living that you're learning right now. It's my philosophy. So here is something that I promised you I would do in this program. And again, depending on which program you've got, you may or may not have access to this in the How to Get More Done in Less Time program. But one of the best ways to make sure that you significantly increase your productivity is that you take the time every day to focus on what you are going to do. Now, I want to teach you something that is contrary to what you're even reading, but we use it because this is what most people know. Time management techniques. First and foremost, there is no such thing as time management. Time is a continuum, okay, that is for the most part an illusion. Okay, we measure time, okay, in seconds, milliseconds, moments, years, decades, billions of years. And here's one of the things I learned. You can't manage it. All you can do is ask yourself this question. In the time that I have available, what is or what are the activities that are going to give me the highest ROE and ROI? ROE, return on my energy. ROI, return on my investment of time or money or resources. And the best way to do this is to take a little bit of the precious thing you own called time and use it to think, to plan, then to execute, to take action, and then to review and tweak and repeat the process. So if I was to ask you, in the 10 or 12 hours a day that you have to achieve your goals and dreams in health, wealth, relationships, career, business, etc., do you know right now what is the highest impact activity for you to be healthy? You may not know that. I do. My highest impact activity for being healthy is my vegan diet, is my exercise, and is my meditation. And guess what? I do all three of those things every day. Those are my highest income or impact producing activities that help me. They're the foundation that help me achieve all of my micro chunk goals, my middle term goals, and my big vision goals. If you don't know what your highest impact or highest income producing activity is in your career or your business, you will then trade the time for stuff that may or may not give you the biggest bang for your time or buck. And so if you just invested 15 minutes a day to fill out this form, okay, and this worksheet, which we're making available to you, not just in PowerPoint, but you could download it, okay? It's going to be in the members area that you've got for Mastering Your Mindset. And Erica's already given you a link, okay, in the chat box of how to download it, which I don't want you to do right now. I want you to focus on me right now. When you take some time to discover what are the highest impact activities that I could be doing to make sure my relationship is amazing. There's not 100. There's 2 or 3 that when you do those every day or every week, your chances of success go through the roof. There aren't 100 different ways, okay, to be healthier. There's 3 or 4 core things that when you do those, you get the exponential results, the fastest and easiest results. So if you take the time every day to write my highest priority, highest impact activities that I will focus on today, and do not go to sleep until you have those 3 things done. That's number 1 on your list. Number 2, for those of you who want to make more money, you have to ask yourself this question: what are the highest income producing activities for you, whether it's in your job or in your business? Now, you might be on this right now going, well, I don't know. Too bad. That is your ignorance. And your ignorance just means you don't know. And if you don't know, when would now be a good time to start finding out what are my highest income producing activities? What are my highest impact activities that when I do those every day, I'm going to strategically increase my chances of achieving amazing results. See, I focus on these 2 points every single day at 9:30 in the morning. I meet with my assistant, all right, and we go through, here's the things that are my highest impact. Here are the things that are my highest income. Then we go to what are the projects that I'm working on that will support my weekly, monthly, quarterly goals that I have to work on today. And then I chunk it down into my calendar. And so every day at 9:30, this is when I do this. And because I start my day at around 9:30 for work, okay, I do all my personal stuff between 6:30 and 9 o'clock. I invest 2.5 hours on my meditation, my health, my family, and some other things that I need to do early in the mornings. But I ask myself this question every day, and I fill out these forms every day. Then, if we're waiting for responses from people, then I make sure that I know who I'm looking for a response from, because they may be part of my strategies to achieve my goals. And so I make a list of the 2 or 3 people that I need to connect with that day. The next part of this is to connect with the people that I have to in order to move my goals and dreams forward. And then I'll put some things that really need to get done, but I can't do them today, on my schedule. And then I have another area here that says, if I have time, I will. And what I can share with you is this specific part, if I have time, I will. I never fill that out because my schedule is packed. So I rarely have time to work on anything other than what I've already decided I want to achieve this week, this month, this quarter. And then at the end of the day, part of my PM ritual, I ask myself on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being awful and 10 being, yeah, amazing day, how well did I manage my events, my activities? And if it was a 5, I asked myself, well, what can I do to make tomorrow better? So how do I manage my day better tomorrow? And when you can get yourself to focus on this, one of our clients, Bill Thomas, started using this. He's in one of our business growth programs. He started using this 2 years ago, and he doubled his income actually not 2 years ago, he doubled his income. And last year, by continuously tweaking and tweaking and tweaking, what he does, he went from 3 million to 26 million in revenue. And we have many, 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 many thousands, tens of thousands of people who use this document every day, and it will make you at least 3 to 5 times more productive. But what you have to remember is it's the habit of focusing your attention and your intentions with doing the highest income and highest impact producing activities every single day that'll yield an exponential result and growth for you. And so this is a skill to learn. This is a strategy to learn to keep you focused every day. And that means that you're going to have to develop this as a habit. So I actually have about 100 of these printed at all times at my office, and I just pull one out every morning, and then I put onto the document what it is that I need, and it goes into my briefcase at the end of the day. I take it home late at night after dinner. I will look at it. I will evaluate it, and I will tweak it so tomorrow is better than today. And if I can stay in the 8, 9, 10 range, 8, 9, 10, 8, 9, 10, not too many 5 days or 2 days or 3 days, which I do have, but to have as many 8, 9s, and 10s, I can pretty much guarantee that I will achieve my goals, and I can pretty much guarantee you fill this out and you do this one simple management technique, self-management techniques will make you 3 to 5 times more productive. I guarantee it, okay? And so I'm going to give you my daily rituals, and then we're going to go to Q&A. And daily rituals are what I've gotten used to doing in the mornings and at night in order to give myself the ability to stay focused, stay on track with a predictable process that helps me. So in the morning and in the evening, okay, I recommend that you start to review your goals. So once you have your goals, okay, you review your goals. Make this a priority. So in the morning when I wake up, one of the things that I do is I review my goals. I review them for the day, I review them for the week, I review them for the month, I review them for the year. Number 2 is I get into my meditation. I do this every morning. And some mornings I do 10, 12 minutes. Other mornings I do 45. At least 5 days a week, I'm listening to the brain retraining program. I either listen to the business one or fear one or money one or procrastination one. And I also sometimes have it running in the background during my day. That's just a little tip for you because I've done them so many times for so many years. Number 2 is I will do a short little visualization exercise of my goals, and I see myself already achieving my goals. I will use the affirmations that are in either the Having It All bundle program or my Having It All program. There's CD number 4 that'll give you some very, very simple, 5-6 minute affirmations. That is an entry level product, all the way through to our brain retraining program, Winning the Game of Money or Fear, Procrastination, or Business, that gives you 30 minutes a day, 9 different levels, etc. And many of you know what I'm talking about, that already have the best affirmations and visualizations and cognitive priming techniques in there. All right, then what I will do is I look at my goals on the laminated sheet of paper. I will just pretend that I'm a Hollywood actor or actress, and I will feel what it's like to actually have that as my reality. And at first, sometimes it's hard, but then I just get better at it, and I let my imagination grow, and I let my imagination go. And I also do a gratitude exercise. And that means that I focus on what am I grateful for about my health, my family, my business, my career, my contribution, the fun I'm having, my life, the challenges I've had, the challenges I'm having. What am I grateful for in those things in my life? And that sets up my day to prime my brain to see what I want to prime it with, to feel it, to visualize it, to appreciate it, to be in a state of gratitude. And that's how I start every morning. And I also exercise as well. And then during the day, I will use, and I highly recommend you use, various forms of neurotechnology. So whether it's our brain retraining programs or any other technology that you have found that you like, if you can just use, technologies that will help change your neurology and help keep you focused and more on track, whether it's a tool, a resource, an app, or something, then I highly recommend that you do that. So come up with 3 things that you can do in the morning for your AM ritual, have 3 things you can do in your evening for your PM ritual, and just start with that. Not 100 things, 3 things. I have the stuff that works for me, but I've been doing it for many, many, many years. But I want you to remember what I suggested earlier on. The habit is more important than the intensity. So even if you start off with 1 thing, that's great. If you start off with 2 things, great. 3 things, great. And what I want you to remember is I'm in the community every day. Mark Waldman, our neuro coach, is in the community every day. Thousands of people are in the community helping every single day with thoughts, ideas, videos, processes, systems, apps, etc. So you've gotten access to an enormous amount of what to, how to, when to, why to, and that means you can take your excuses, set them aside, take your stories, set them aside, get your brain focused on what it is that you want to achieve, get yourself focused on doing the right things in the right order based on your highest income, highest impact activities, chunk it down, make it specific, make it time bound, and then give yourself enough time to pick up some momentum. And so I would prefer you to do something every day for 5 minutes towards your goals than once, every 2 weeks. Get into the habit of doing it little by little, inch by inch. It becomes a cinch. And with that said, I'm going to go a little bit over right now, and I'm going to answer your questions.
Thanks for watching Neuro Legend. We love to hear from you. Leave in the comments section where you are from and what one action you will take as a result of what you have learned. We have tons of valuable materials to help you live, learn, and grow. To get more of this video or thousands of our rich content, subscribe to our channel now, and hit the notification bell if you haven't done so before. And type the following in the comments section. I subscribe to Neuro Legend because I am successful. See you in the next video.